5 night habits that secretly increase stroke risk after 60 and damage your heart health. If you're over 60 and doing this before bed, you could be tripling your stroke risk right now, and your doctor probably hasn't told you. Every single night, millions of seniors unknowingly engage in habits that silently damage their cardiovascular system while they sleep. The shocking part: most of these habits seem completely harmless. In fact, you probably did at least 3 of them last night. Between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m., your stroke risk increases by 40%, and what you do in the hours before bed directly affects whether you'll wake up healthy or in an emergency room. One of these habits is so common that 78% of people over 60 do it every single night without realizing the danger. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. The silent danger: why night habits matter more after 60. Here's what most people don't understand about aging and cardiovascular health. After 60, your heart and blood vessels go through significant changes that make nighttime the most vulnerable period for heart attacks and strokes. Your blood pressure naturally fluctuates throughout the day, but after 60, these fluctuations become more extreme. During sleep, your body is supposed to enter a restorative state where blood pressure drops and your heart rate slows down. This is called nocturnal dipping, and it's essential for cardiovascular recovery. But here's the problem: when you engage in certain nighttime habits, you disrupt this natural process. Your blood vessels stiffen with age, making them less flexible and more prone to damage. Your body's ability to regulate blood pressure diminishes. The autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary functions like heart rate, becomes less responsive. This means that habits which might have been harmless in your 40s or 50s now carry serious consequences. My neighbour Barbara learned this the hard way when she woke up one morning unable to move her left arm. She thought she was doing everything right, eating healthy, taking her medications, staying active. But her nighttime routine was sabotaging everything. Let's talk about the first habit that's putting your heart at serious risk, and it's something most seniors do without thinking twice. Eating within 3 hours of bedtime forces your body into a dangerous state during sleep. When you eat late, especially foods high in sodium, your digestive system kicks into high gear right when your body should be winding down. This creates a perfect storm for cardiovascular stress. Your heart rate increases to support digestion. Your blood pressure rises instead of naturally dipping during sleep. Your kidneys work overtime to process sodium while you're lying flat, which is the worst position for fluid regulation. Here's what makes this habit so dangerous for seniors. That seemingly innocent bowl of cereal before bed might contain 300 milligrams of sodium. Those crackers and cheese you snack on? Over 400 milligrams. Even that handful of pretzels packs nearly 500 milligrams of hidden salt. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium daily for seniors, but most people consume over 3,400 milligrams without realizing it. When you eat these foods late at night, your body can't properly process the sodium before you lie down. This causes fluid retention, increased blood volume, and elevated blood pressure throughout the night. Research shows that eating within 3 hours of bedtime increases your risk of hypertension by 23%. The sodium sits in your bloodstream, forcing your heart to work harder, pumping thickened blood through narrowed vessels. Your kidneys struggle to filter excess fluid while you're horizontal, leading to swelling and additional cardiovascular strain. But here's what you need to know. It's not just obvious salty snacks that cause problems. Cottage cheese, canned soup, bread, deli meat, frozen dinners, tomato sauce, and even some breakfast cereals are loaded with hidden sodium that spikes your blood pressure during the most vulnerable hours of sleep. The worst part? Many seniors think they're making healthy choices. Low-fat foods often contain extra sodium for flavor. Sugar-free products frequently have high sodium content. Even fresh-seeming foods like rotisserie chicken can contain injection solutions with over 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. When 72-year-old James started tracking his evening snacks, he discovered he was consuming over 800 milligrams of sodium after 8 p.m. every night. Within 2 weeks of stopping late-night eating, his morning blood pressure readings dropped from 158/94 to 138/82. His doctor was amazed at the transformation. So, what's the solution? Follow the 3-hour rule. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bedtime. If you absolutely need a snack, choose fresh fruits like berries or a small apple, unsalted nuts in tiny portions, or plain Greek yogurt without added ingredients. Always check nutrition labels and aim for foods with less than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. Your heart needs those nighttime hours to recover, not to battle a sodium tsunami while you sleep. Have you noticed your ankles swelling in the morning? That's often a sign you're eating too much sodium too late at night. Comment below and let me know what your typical evening snack is. Habit number 2, inconsistent sleep schedule and blood pressure. Chaos. The second habit. Destroying your cardiovascular health is one that seems harmless but creates absolute chaos in your system. Going to bed and waking up at different times each day confuses your body's internal clock and wreaks havoc on your blood pressure regulation. Your cardiovascular system operates on a precise circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock that controls when your blood pressure rises and falls, when certain hormones are released, and when your heart rate naturally adjusts. After 60, this system becomes more fragile and less forgiving of disruption. Here's what happens when you go to bed at 10 p.m. one night, midnight the next, and 9 p.m. the following night. Your body can't predict when it should lower blood pressure for sleep. Your stress hormones, like cortisol, get released at the wrong times. Your heart rate variability, a key indicator of cardiovascular health, becomes erratic and unpredictable. Studies of shift workers who have irregular sleep schedules show they have 23% higher rates of stroke and heart disease compared to people with consistent sleep patterns. The same principle applies when you're retired and think you have the freedom to sleep whenever you want. That freedom could be costing you your health. When Margaret retired at 65, she started staying up late watching television some nights and going to bed early other nights, depending on how tired she felt. Within 6 months, she developed hypertension for the first time in her life. Her doctor couldn't understand why medication wasn't controlling it effectively. The culprit was her chaotic sleep schedule. Your blood vessels need predictability. They need to know when to dilate for rest and when to constrict for activity. When you constantly change your sleep times, your vessels stay in a state of confusion, leading to chronic inflammation and increased arterial stiffness. This is especially dangerous after 60, when your vessels are already less elastic. The inflammation caused by irregular sleep patterns damages the inner lining of your arteries, creating the perfect environment for plaque buildup and blood clots. But there's more. Inconsistent sleep also disrupts your melatonin production. Melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone. It's a powerful antioxidant that protects your cardiovascular system from oxidative stress and inflammation. When you go to bed at wildly different times, Your body produces melatonin irregularly, leaving your heart and blood vessels vulnerable to damage. Your body also can't properly regulate blood sugar when your sleep schedule varies. This leads to insulin resistance, which increases inflammation and atherosclerosis. Even your appetite hormones get disrupted, causing late-night hunger that leads back to habit number 1. So, what's the fix? Choose a consistent bedtime and wake time, even on weekends. Your body needs a 30-minute window of predictability. If you normally go to bed at 10 p.m., aim for between 9:30 and 10:30 every single night. Set an alarm for bedtime, not just for waking up. Create a routine that signals your body it's time to wind down. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Lower the temperature in your bedroom. Avoid stimulating activities in the evening. Within just 2 weeks of maintaining a consistent schedule, most people see their blood pressure stabilize and their sleep quality dramatically improve. John, a 67-year-old retired nurse, was skeptical when his cardiologist suggested fixing his sleep schedule. He thought it was too simple to make a real difference. But after committing to going to bed at 10:30 p.m. every night for 3 weeks, his morning blood pressure readings improved so much that his doctor was able to reduce one of his medications. Your cardiovascular system craves routine and predictability, especially after 60. Give it that gift and watch your heart health transform. Are you a night owl or an early bird? Drop a comment and tell me what time you usually go to bed. Now let's talk about habit number 3. And this one creates a vicious cycle that most seniors fall into without realizing the danger. Many people over 60 deliberately avoid drinking water in the evening because they don't want to wake up multiple times during the night to use the bathroom. This seems logical, but it's actually one of the most dangerous things you can do for your cardiovascular health. Here's the deadly problem with nighttime dehydration. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. Your heart has to work significantly harder to pump this thickened blood through your vessels. Your blood pressure increases because your body tries to maintain blood flow despite reduced blood volume. Most importantly, thicker blood is much more likely to form clots that cause strokes and heart attacks. The peak time for strokes is between 6 and 10 a.m. And one of the major contributing factors is the dehydration that builds up overnight. Think about it. You sleep for 7 or 8 hours without consuming any fluids. If you deliberately stop drinking water several hours before bed, you're looking at potentially 10 to 12 hours of dehydration. Your body loses water through breathing, perspiration, and other processes even while you sleep. By morning, your blood can be up to 20% more concentrated than it was when you went to bed. This is why so many cardiovascular emergencies happen in the early morning hours. For seniors, this problem is even more serious because your sense of thirst diminishes with age. You might already be mildly dehydrated throughout the day without feeling thirsty, and then you compound the problem by restricting fluids at night. Your kidneys also become less efficient at concentrating urine as you age, meaning you need more water to eliminate waste products, not less. Here's what you need to understand about hydration and heart health. Proper hydration keeps your blood at the right viscosity for easy flow through vessels. It helps maintain healthy blood pressure by supporting adequate blood volume. It allows your kidneys to effectively filter waste products that would otherwise stress your cardiovascular system. It reduces the risk of blood clots forming in your arteries and veins. But many seniors create a dangerous cycle. They avoid water in the evening to prevent bathroom trips. They wake up dehydrated with thick blood and elevated blood pressure. They feel dizzy or weak in the morning due to poor circulation. They might even experience morning headaches from dehydration-related blood pressure spikes. Then they drink water during the day, which makes them need more bathroom trips at night, so they restrict fluids again. This cycle repeats indefinitely, and with each cycle, the damage to their cardiovascular system accumulates. Some warning signs that you're dangerously dehydrated include dark yellow urine first thing in the morning, persistent morning headaches, dizziness when standing up quickly, unusual fatigue even after a full night's sleep, and rapid heart rate upon waking. These are your body's emergency signals that your blood volume is too low and your heart is struggling. So what's the solution? Don't restrict water intake in the evening. Instead, distribute your fluid intake evenly throughout the day and taper slightly in the last hour before bed. If you need to use the bathroom at night, that's normal and healthy for seniors. Keep a clear path to the bathroom and use a nightlight for safety. Consider it a positive sign that your kidneys are working properly. Also, avoid diuretics like coffee, tea and alcohol in the evening, as these accelerate fluid loss. If you take diuretic medications for blood pressure or heart failure, talk to your doctor about the best timing for your dose to minimize nighttime disruption while avoiding dangerous dehydration. Remember, waking up once or twice to use the bathroom is far safer than waking up unable to move because of a stroke caused by dehydrated, clotted blood. Patricia, a 70-year-old woman who prided herself on sleeping through the night without bathroom trips, learned this lesson when she had a mini-stroke. Her doctor explained that her deliberate dehydration was a major contributing factor. After adjusting her habits and accepting nighttime bathroom trips as part of healthy aging, she hasn't had another incident in 3 years. Your body needs water overnight to maintain healthy circulation. Don't deprive it of this essential resource. How many times do you typically wake up at night to use the bathroom? Share in the comments. Habit number 4 is something doctors see constantly, and it's absolutely critical to understand if you take blood pressure medication. Most people don't realize that when you take your medication matters just as much as taking it consistently. The timing of your blood pressure medication can literally mean the difference between protection and vulnerability when it comes to stroke risk. Here's what you need to know about blood pressure patterns and medication timing. Your blood pressure doesn't stay constant throughout the day. It follows a predictable pattern that peaks in the morning hours, typically between 6 a.m. and noon. This morning surge is when your body releases cortisol and other stress hormones to wake you up and prepare you for activity. For most people, blood pressure rises sharply in the early morning, reaching its highest point around 9 a.m. This is also when the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur. The morning surge can increase your blood pressure by 20 to 30 points compared to your sleeping levels. After 60, this surge becomes even more pronounced and dangerous because your blood vessels are stiffer and less able to adapt to rapid pressure changes. Now, here's where medication timing becomes crucial. Most people take their blood pressure medication first thing in the morning with breakfast or right after waking up. This seems logical, but there's a problem. Most blood pressure medications take 2 to 4 hours to reach peak effectiveness in your bloodstream. If you take your medication at 7 a.m. and it peaks at 10 a.m., you've missed the critical window when your blood pressure was surging and your stroke risk was highest. Your medication is protecting you after the danger has passed. Recent research has revealed something that's changing how cardiologists prescribe blood pressure medication timing. Taking at least one of your blood pressure medications at bedtime instead of in the morning can reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 45%. This is because the medication reaches peak effectiveness during those dangerous early morning hours when your blood pressure naturally surges. The medication is working at full strength exactly when you need it most. But here's what's critical to understand. You should never change when you take your medications without consulting your doctor first. Different medications work in different ways, and some should only be taken at specific times. Your doctor needs to review your entire medication regimen, consider any other health conditions you have, and possibly monitor your blood pressure at different times to determine the optimal schedule for you specifically. Some medications, like diuretics, should generally be taken in the morning to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. Others, like calcium channel blockers or ACE inhibitors, might work better at bedtime. If you take multiple blood pressure medications, your doctor might split them, so you take some in the morning and some at night for round-the-clock protection. The key is personalization based on your unique blood pressure pattern. Another critical aspect of medication timing is consistency. Your body adapts to medication schedules, and your blood vessels learn to expect that protection at certain times. If you take your medication at 8 a.m. one day, 10 a.m. the next, and 7 a.m. the following day, you create gaps in protection where your blood pressure can spike dangerously. Use a pill organizer to track your medications and set phone alarms for exact dosing times. Many insurance plans and Medicare cover medication management apps that remind you when to take each pill. Some even connect to your doctor's office to report if you miss doses. Taking your medications at the right time every single day is just as important as taking them at all. Robert, a 68-year-old man with hypertension, was taking his medications sporadically throughout the morning whenever he remembered. His blood pressure was poorly controlled despite being on 3 different medications. When his cardiologist put him on a strict schedule with 1 medication at bedtime and 2 in the morning at specific times, his readings improved dramatically within 2 weeks. His doctor was able to eliminate 1 medication entirely because the timing optimization made the others work more effectively. If you've been taking your blood pressure medication the same way for years without discussing timing with your doctor, schedule an appointment specifically to review your medication schedule. New research about chronotherapy, which is timing medications to match your body's natural rhythms, has revolutionized cardiovascular care in just the past few years. Your doctor might not have updated your regimen based on this latest evidence unless you ask. Also, consider investing in a home blood pressure monitor to track your readings at different times of day. This data helps your doctor see your personal pattern and optimize your medication timing accordingly. Medicare and most insurance plans cover home monitoring devices. Share your log with your doctor at every visit. Your medications are powerful tools to protect your heart, but only if you time them correctly to match your body's natural vulnerability windows. Do you take your blood pressure medications at the same time every single day? Let us know in the comments. Now we've reached habit number 5, the one that shocked me most because almost everyone does it, and it's directly destroying both sleep quality and cardiovascular health simultaneously. Staying on your phone, tablet, or watching television right up until you close your eyes at night is one of the most damaging habits for your heart after 60, and the science behind why this happens is absolutely fascinating. Let me explain exactly what's going on inside your body when you stare at screens before bed. Your eyes contain special cells that detect blue light wavelength. which is emitted intensely by all electronic screens. These cells send signals to your brain that it's daytime, which completely suppresses your production of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that makes you feel sleepy, but that's only part of its job. What most people don't know is that melatonin is also one of your body's most powerful antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. It protects your cardiovascular system from oxidative stress that damages arterial walls. It reduces inflammation in blood vessel linings. It helps regulate blood pressure during sleep. It even protects against irregular heartbeats and arrhythmias. When you suppress melatonin production with blue light exposure, you lose all of these protective benefits right when your body needs them most. But the damage from evening screen time goes much deeper than just melatonin suppression. Blue light exposure in the evening disrupts your circadian rhythm, which, as we discussed earlier, is critical for cardiovascular health. It activates your sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight response, which raises your heart rate and blood pressure. It triggers cortisol release at the wrong time, keeping you in a state of mild stress when you should be relaxing. It prevents you from reaching deep restorative sleep stages where your blood pressure naturally drops and your heart rate slows. The result is that even if you sleep for 8 hours, your cardiovascular system never gets the recovery time it desperately needs. Here's where this becomes especially dangerous for seniors. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of atherosclerosis, the build-up of plaque in your arteries that leads to heart attacks and strokes. When you disrupt your sleep with screen time every single night, you create a state of persistent inflammation throughout your entire body. Your immune system stays activated. Your blood vessels remain in a state of low-level damage. Your body produces inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein that directly correlate with heart disease risk. Over months and years, this chronic inflammation progressively narrows your arteries, stiffens your blood vessels, and sets the stage for cardiovascular events. Research shows that people who use screens within 2 hours of bedtime have significantly higher rates of hypertension, higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood, increased arterial stiffness, and up to 43% higher risk of cardiovascular disease compared to people who avoid evening screen exposure. The blue light essentially ages your cardiovascular system prematurely by preventing the nightly repair and recovery process your body relies on. Now, here's what makes this habit so insidious. The content you're consuming on screens is often engaging or stressful, which compounds the problem. Watching the news before bed exposes you to stressful information that elevates cortisol. Scrolling social media activates reward centers in your brain that release dopamine, making you feel more alert. Reading emails about problems or responsibilities triggers anxiety that raises blood pressure. Even entertaining shows can be so engaging that they keep your mind racing when you should be winding down. Your brain stays in an activated state. Your heart rate remains elevated, and your blood pressure never reaches the restorative dip that's essential for cardiovascular health. Margaret, who I mentioned earlier, was watching her tablet in bed every single night until the moment she fell asleep. She thought it helped her relax, but she was always tired in the morning, and her blood pressure was poorly controlled despite medication. Her doctor suggested a screen-free evening experiment. Within 5 nights of stopping all screen use after 8 p.m, Margaret noticed she fell asleep faster. Within 2 weeks, her morning blood pressure readings dropped by 15 points. Within a month, she reported feeling more energetic than she had in years, and her cardiologist was able to reduce one of her medications. The transformation from this single habit change was remarkable. So what's the solution? Follow the 2-hour rule. Stop all screen time at least 2 hours before your planned bedtime. This gives your body time to naturally increase melatonin production and begin the wind-down process. Remove televisions from your bedroom entirely so your sleeping space is only associated with rest. Charge your phone in another room so you're not tempted to check it if you wake up at night. If you absolutely must use screens in the evening, enable blue light filters on all devices and consider blue light blocking glasses, though these are only partially effective and don't address the content stimulation issue. Find alternative evening activities that genuinely relax your nervous system. Reading physical books or magazines with warm lighting, listening to calming music or audiobooks, gentle stretching or relaxation exercises, conversation with family or friends, puzzles or quiet hobbies that don't involve screens. These activities allow your body to naturally transition into sleep mode without the disruptive effects of blue light and stimulating content. I know this is probably the hardest habit to break because screens have become so integrated into evening routines. But your cardiovascular health depends on quality restorative sleep, and that's simply impossible with screens in your face before bed. Your heart has been beating for over 60 years. It deserves those nighttime hours of true rest and recovery. Be honest in the comments. How long before bed are you typically on your phone or watching TV? No judgment, just curiosity about how common this habit really is. Before we move to the solution, there are 2 critical warning signs that your nighttime habits are already causing cardiovascular damage and you need to recognize them immediately. The first warning sign is waking up with headaches, especially in the morning hours. If you consistently wake up with headaches that improve as the day goes on, this is often a sign that your blood pressure is spiking dangerously high during the night or early morning hours. These aren't typical tension headaches. They feel like pressure or throbbing, often at the back of your head or temples. They might be accompanied by a feeling of fullness in your head or mild dizziness when you first stand up. This is your body's emergency signal that your blood vessels are under too much pressure and your cardiovascular system is struggling. Don't ignore these headaches or dismiss them as part of aging. They indicate that your nighttime habits are actively damaging your heart and brain. The second warning sign is night sweats, combined with an irregular or rapid heartbeat. If you wake up drenched in sweat with your heart racing or beating irregularly, your body is in distress. This can indicate that your blood pressure is fluctuating wildly during sleep, your heart is working too hard to compensate for poor circulation or dehydration, or you're experiencing episodes of sleep apnea that stress your cardiovascular system. Night sweats alone might have various causes, but when combined with heart irregularities, they're a red flag for cardiovascular problems. If you experience either of these warning signs regularly, you need to take action immediately. Schedule an appointment with your doctor within the next week, not next month. Request a blood pressure check and possibly 24-hour ambulatory blood pressure monitoring to see what's happening while you sleep. Ask about sleep studies if you also snore or feel tired despite sleeping enough hours. These warning signs mean your body is actively warning you about damage that's occurring right now. The good news is that by fixing the 5 habits we've discussed, many people see these warning signs disappear within just a few weeks. The doctor-approved bedtime routine. Let me give you a simple doctor-approved bedtime routine that protects your cardiovascular system and can be implemented starting tonight. This routine incorporates everything we've discussed and sets you up for restorative, heart-healthy sleep. 3 hours before bed, finish your last meal or snack. Make sure it's low in sodium and moderate in portion size. 2 hours before bed, stop all screen time completely. Turn off televisions, put away phones and tablets, and transition to relaxing activities. 1 hour before bed, begin your wind-down routine. Dim the lights throughout your house to signal your body that sleep is approaching. Take your evening medications if your doctor has prescribed any for bedtime. Do some gentle stretching or light movement to release physical tension. Set your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which research shows is optimal for cardiovascular health during sleep. 30 minutes before bed, prepare a small glass of water to keep by your bedside for sipping if needed during the night. Complete your bathroom routine. Change into comfortable sleepwear. At your designated bedtime, which should be the same every single night within a 30-minute window, get into bed. Use this time for reading a physical book under warm lighting, listening to calming audio, or practicing relaxation breathing. When you feel genuinely sleepy, turn off the lights and sleep. This routine works because it supports every aspect of cardiovascular health we've discussed. It allows proper digestion before lying down. It gives your body time to produce melatonin naturally. It creates consistency your circadian rhythm can rely on. It maintains proper hydration while minimizing sleep disruption. It reduces stress and allows your nervous system to shift into rest mode. Within 2 weeks of following this routine consistently, most people experience dramatically improved sleep quality, more stable blood pressure readings, and better overall cardiovascular health. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because next week I'm releasing a video about the 7 breakfast foods that can lower your stroke risk by 40%. You won't want to miss it. I have a question for you. Which of these 5 habits was most eye-opening for you? Which one are you going to change first? Tell me in the comments because I personally read every single comment and I want to know which habit resonates most with our community. Thank you for watching, and remember, small changes to your nighttime routine can add years to your life and life to your years. Sleep well and protect that heart. 5 night habits that secretly increase stroke risk after 60 and damage your heart health. If you're over 60 and doing this before bed, you could be tripling your stroke risk right now, and your doctor probably hasn't told you. Every single night, millions of seniors unknowingly engage in habits that silently damage their cardiovascular system while they sleep. The shocking part? Most of these habits seem completely harmless. In fact, you probably did at least 3 of them last night. Between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m., your stroke risk increases by 40%, and what you do in the hours before bed directly affects whether you'll wake up healthy or in an emergency room. One of these habits is so common that 78% of people over 60 do it every single night without realizing the danger. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could literally save your life or the life of someone you love.